yeah. So whenever I'm ready.
Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So the main part of the body here is made out of African mahogany. I like it. It's really pretty. It has a lot of pores, so it's kind of hard to finish, but it looks really nice when you get it done right. The neck, I'm gonna turn it around here.
Here, let's unplug it. Sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry.
We don't want to mess up your jacket.
The main part of the neck is made out of maple. I really like maple necks.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of really pretty woods for necks, but I like maple, and this one has a little bit of a flame to it that you can kind of see. It was just a piece of wood off the lumber rack, so I was really happy with that. And then
The fingerboard, what is that?
The fingerboard is made out of a kind of wood called canary wood.
Canary wood?
Yeah,
Oh.
so it's an exotic wood. I'm a sucker for pretty woods, and I went to the store and they had a limited selection of boards of canary wood, and I had to pick one up. And it's kind of cool. I really like it because it's got this purple streak that kind of comes down right here, goes all the way down the fretboard.
Nice.
And then you can see there's wormholes in it. There's one right there and there, and it's kind of neat too. Just adds a little bit of texture. I mean, there's one that goes right across right here, and you can't really feel it when you're playing, but it looks nice. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it gives it that rustic look.
Yeah, so I really like that, and I've used lots of different woods for fingerboards. I'm trying to move towards using domestic woods, but like I said, I'm a sucker for really pretty woods. And then the dots here are actually made out of African mahogany, just like the body. I used a plug cutter that they use for making plugs for boats to cover screw heads. And that seems to work pretty good.
Let me ask you this about the price point. Since you're using all these exotic woods, and so this guitar is pricey. Then is that what we're?
Part of my like philosophy for the company is I want to provide a guitar that works really well for working musicians, that working musicians can afford without taking out a mortgage on the house or whatever. So this particular model, I'm thinking I want to start it around $1,600, which is like...
That's not bad.
No, it's not bad. It's like a low-end Fender custom kind of thing.
Okay.
At least they used to be around $1,600, $1,700. And then potentially, depending on the features, going up to maybe around 23 or so. I have also a carved top model in the works. That one is a little bit more work to get done, so that'd be a little higher, but still I'm not thinking about going astronomical.
Right.
So this particular one has all of the weird wiring with a funny looking switch, and the push pull is kind of a pain, so that would be a little bit more than the 1,600, like maybe around 1,800, plus it's got the exotic woods. But I'm not completely set on a range yet. The next one that I make after I do the changes, I'm going to pay attention to how much I spend on the wood, how much time it takes me to make it, and the cost of the hardware and stuff.
So for how many hours do you have on this particular guitar?
So this one I've gotten pretty good at it. So this one didn't take me as long as the other ones, but still it's really hard for me to estimate, but I put a good amount of time into it. So it all started out as raw lumber. So I had to cut it to the right size and plane it. In the case of the fretboard, I actually took it, the piece of lumber I had still had bark on one edge, and so I took that and I milled it down.
Wow, just right off the tree practically.
Yeah, well, they had stripped most of the fuzzy stuff, but the layer of bark was still there, so I had to cut it so it was straight, and then I cut it on my bandsaw, so I was able to get...
Do you have videos of the process?
I don't have
You ever thought about that?
I don't have videos for this guitar. On my YouTube channel, I have a couple videos of the CNC machine doing stuff on the neck and fretboard of a previous guitar that I was working on. So yeah, a lot of the time when I end up preparing the lumber, I have another piece that looks exactly like this fretboard because it was just sliced down the middle. I got 2 fretboard blanks out of the thickness of the wood, so I was real happy with that. The next one of a very similar fretboard. I was really happy. One of the parts I've been struggling with is getting this part right here perfect so that it doesn't like poke you when you're playing up at the nut, but it's not just gone because I like to have a little bit of wood there so it feels nice and solid. And then the tuners were pretty easy to mount in. I use a string retainer for now. I'm going to work on doing an angled headstock, and that would be kind of cool, but I do like the look of the flat headstock. So,
I got the light real quick. Go ahead.
So the headstock shape, I was trying to eliminate a lot of the tuning problems that you can come across with strings when they're all splayed out going different directions. So a lot of the shape was dictated by where I wanted to put the tuning heads, and I tried to get it as close as I could to straight so that they're parallel to each other. It's not perfect, but it's pretty darn good, and it's easy to adjust it a little bit if I need to. So that's where it started out. I got pretty much this line and this line, these parts of this triangle, from placing the tuning heads, and the rest of it I filled in freehand pretty much, just to make sure that I liked how it was going.
Are these locking tuners?
Yeah, they are locking tuners. It's the first time I've experimented with locking tuners. I haven't used them before, but I'm pretty happy with them, because I hate winding up strings forever.
Right.
The only thing I hate more than that is when I get it almost tuned up to pitch and it pops out because I didn't wind it up enough.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided to go with the locking tuners. And these are nice. These are the Spurzels, so they're made in the U.S. I'm trying to use U.S. made stuff.
Parts.
Yeah.
Great. Well, that's really awesome. And did we talk about the?
Yeah. So I wanted to make sure that it would be easy to get all the way up to the 24th fret, which is right here, without having to reach all the way over the guitar body, because so many guitars, when you get up to soloing, you have to reach all the way across it, and it's just not very convenient. So that was part of the design from the beginning, was to make it so that it would be really easy to play all of the notes. You know, it shouldn't be hard to play your instrument. The problem with that is that a regular guitar neck ends right at the end of the fretboard, which would mean that I would have, you know, this much space to bolt in the neck. So my solution to that is that I have a really long neck tenon, which is just the part that fits into the body. You can see the bolts back here, and if I turn it around real quick, I'm getting all tangled up here. There's this little piece of maple right here is actually the end of the neck tenon, so that the neck pickup goes, because I have to take the wires out through there anyway. It's kind of hard to see because it's all full of stuff, but yeah, so those bolts on the back come through right about here and here. And that keeps it nice and solid in there, because I'd be happy, you know, shaking this around, swinging it around if I wanted to, and I know the neck's not going to come out of there.
No, you've had other people play the guitar. What is the feedback so far?
So from other people that I've had play the guitar, the number one thing that they say is that it is easy to get to the top fret. So one of the people I had play it, he was really into like Red Hot Chili Peppers and that kind of stuff. He was doing a lot of chords really high up on the neck. And he really appreciated how he could play those chords without having to reach over it. It's also a little bit easier because the scale length, which is the distance from the nut to the bridge, is a little bit longer than on your standard guitar. So on a Fender guitar, you would have like a 25.5-inch length between nut and bridge. This one is about a 1/2 inch longer. It's in metric, so it's not exact, but about 1/2 inch longer. And that gives you a little bit more room up there too, but I don't think it's so much that it's uncomfortable to play chords on the lower frets.
Can I have you hold it just real quick, just to, I can see it in its true beauty. I'm calling you beautiful.